Race and just kind of had to reshuffle my cards. And last weekend I was really happy after the race because I played it smart, and I wanted to win the race because in the position I was in. And but it happened, and played it smart, and I think that's the best way I could have came out of that weekend.
It's a smart way to approach it now, David Bailey.
Well, he's definitely seen the front of the pack. He's seen the back of the pack. He's actually had this helmet down in the dirt in Seattle, so that forces you to pay a little bit more attention and making sure you don't lose any points to somebody like McGrath.
Also here in the first qualifying heat is John Dowd, who's won a 125 race here in Atlanta, Georgia, along with Larry Ward, Mike LaRocco, Sebastian Tortelli, Steve Lampson, Robbie Raynard. What a packed lineup here in the Heat 1. Number 7 right there is Larry Ward. Number 17, one of the top Team Suzuki riders, Robbie Raynard. As we go down the line, Tortelli, number 44. Lampson, number 24, riding with all kinds of sore ribs here today. The Chaparral Yamaha.
Hadn't had an opportunity to ride at all this week. There you see the back of him.
So they start to fire up. Incidentally, a native Georgian, and there's been several very outstanding riders come from Georgia, has never won the race here in Atlanta, whether it be outdoors at Fulton County Stadium or inside the dome.
Well, I know Ezra would like to change that statistic tonight.
He sure would. As the 30-second board, you see it. It's up right now. When that goes sideways, there's from 5 to 10 seconds that gate will drop, and we'll be underway with our first qualifying heat from the dome.
We're going from a much hard-packed slick surface to a much tackier surface here tonight. These guys are going to be able to turn pretty much anywhere they want. They don't have to stay in a groove. Should be able to see some side-by-side racing.
Board is sideways, and the great crowd of 50,000+ here at the Georgia Dome, ready for the first action of the evening. Checking it out to see who grabbed that hole shot. On the inside is Steve Lampson. He curves to the outside. It's actually Lammy who gets the hole shot. A good break for him. Heath Voss was just passed by Mike LaRocco. And this is Mike LaRocco's kind of track, David Bailey.
I've been feeling good things for Mike LaRocco this week, knowing that he loves this kind of soil. He's won here before, and look at him. He's off to a super start. He's really been working on his starts, and it's really showing now.
Mike LaRocco off to the best start of his career. 12 years in this business in 250 action. He wants to rebound after 2 non-podium events, a 4th and a 6th in the last 2 races. But out in front, it's surprisingly so, because number 24 on the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha, Steve Lampson, is riding very sore, very sore.
And here's what's tough, Art. You don't get to ride much all week, if any at all. Then you go out and get the hole shot, and you got all these great riders bearing down on you, and we're going to find out.
Battle for third. Larry Ward tries to cut inside, gets by Dowd. Dowd coming back as they head toward the corner. Dowd 6 to the outside. Look who's cutting to the inside. Ezra Lusk, number 4.
Well, their battle almost let Lusk get by both of them. Looks like he's going to be able to get to the inside of Dowd there.
Boy,
not quite.
This is a great start to our qualifying heat. There's not a gap anywhere.
Wow, that was close. Lusk trying to turn back to the inside of Dowd. Actually makes the pass, but he missed his back tire about a 1/4 of an inch. That could have sent him down. So he's taking his chances to get to the front now.
Ward looks back, sees Ezra on the charge. Ezra tries to cut to the inside. Ward, a great spurt on that jump. And so it's Lampson still with LaRocco, Ward, Lusk, and Dowd.
Check out Lusk right there going to the inside before this long loop section.
LaRocco having trouble. Larry Ward makes the pass in a second place. Remember, only the top 4 of these front-running 5 riders have a chance to go to the main event.
There's way too many guys in there right now. There's 2 or 3 riders in this pack are going to get bumped to the semi. Nobody wants to come out here and ride more laps on this track. Plus, I don't know if you agree with me, Art, but it seems to be like one of the warmest venues we've had so far this season. And as tough as the track is, these guys are going to get tired. Put Tampa behind him. He had a tough time down there getting over some of the obstacles. 1 triple, as a matter of fact, he never did. I know he's disappointed with that. This would be a nice way to just start off tonight.
Well, this track ruts up a little bit like Seattle, which is his favorite, with 2 wins of his 3 career wins. Lampson goes down right in front of Mike LaRocco.
Well, he got a little bit crooked, had that front wheel turned to the left. Now LaRocco's stuck on the bike, gets it loose.
Oh, what a bad break for Mike LaRocco.
Look at LaRocco's handlebars. And watch right here, Lampson is going to veer to his left, right in the line of LaRocco. Boom, right into him. What happened with Morocco when he hit him so hard it shoved his handlebars forward. Now the bars are sticking up.
And here's Mike Morocco, still game. Raynard started 10th, has now moved up to 4th. So a big break for Team Suzuki's Robbie Raynard to Steve Lamson with a sheared off back.
And the seat. Seat's gone too. That really affected both the bikes with Lamson and Morocco.
Boy, can you imagine what the mechanics are going to have to go through right now to get those ready for the semi-final round?
They don't have much time.
Meanwhile, our leader out in front, number 7 of Team Suzuki, is Larry Ward. Ward and Dowd going at it big time. Correction. Robbie Raynard and Dowd going at it for 4th place. It is Ward, Ezra Lusk, Robbie Raynard in 3rd, John Dowd in 4th, and Voss is quite a ways back in 5th.
This is the kind of track where Dowd would do well. He's got to like it because the soil is a little bit trickier. You don't have to be so precise like you did in Tampa, where if you just get a little bit off your line, you just get a ton of wheel spin. Here you can sort of muscle your way through, starts to get rutted up. He does well under those conditions.
With all the talent on the track today, David Bailey, you know, at the gate, at 20-rider gate, we've had 10 winners on the gate for all of our races, previous Supercross winners. With all that talent out there, Lady Luck plays a big part.
It does. You just see that right there for Morocco. He wasn't really following. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He actually was picking a line to the left as they come through this section, and Lamson fell right into him.
That's Robbie Raynard, number 17. He's done very well in qualifying heats. In fact, he's won 2 qualifying heats this year. Has never had to go to the semifinals to qualify this entire season. However, he's had a tough time with the long races, the 20 lappers. Let's go down to Marty.
Yeah, we've caught up with Steve Lamson. First off, how are those torn cartilage in your ribs?
I actually didn't bother at all. I land on my left side, so I'm okay.
Take us through quickly what happened.
Well, I just jumped into the hoops, jumped 3, and I jumped a little far into a rut, and it just kind of sent me off to the left. And then Larocco was right behind me when I went down, so he nailed me pretty hard.
So you okay otherwise?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll be back.
We'll see him in the semis.
And we'll see if his mechanic can get that job together again. Now closing the gap on Larry Ward is number 4, Ezra Lusk. 2 laps to go. In fact, the white flag is out right now as they go over the finish line jump.
What's exciting to me, Art, is this is a very difficult loop section that is right down the last straightaway to the finish, and that's where Lusk has been faster than Ward.
Ezra, good technique off the tabletop. Let's see if he can catch Larry Ward. A lapper is up in front of them right now. And that is Amaratio. He clears out of the way. Good sportsmanship by Anthony. Look at Lusk. Like he was shot out of a cannon. Ward has the slight advantage. Ezra, 2-timing it. Ward back in front. Oh my goodness, what great racing.
That was beautiful by Ward to cut him off.
2 more turns before the checkered flag. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, as these 4 riders have qualified for the main event. Larry Ward, Ezra Lusk, Robbie Raynard, and John Dowd.
There's another look at the pass for the lead, the last lap. Lusk realized he doesn't have to go wide to still get a good run through the whoop section, so then it's just a drag race. Who has better timing? Right there, Lusk goes for 3, Ward goes for 2, and that was the difference.
It'll be fascinating to see what Ezra Lusk has to tell. Marty Reed, down to Marty.
Yeah, we're down here with a very happy Ezra Yogi Lusk. I'll tell you what, you didn't get the start you wanted, but boy, the finish was pretty spectacular.
Well, you know, I got a really good start, actually, and going into the first turn, I broke a little early. I tried to hug the inside there, and, you know, I lost a couple positions.
I got to ask you about this little nick on your right cheek. You should be playing basketball with Wyndham, shouldn't you?
Yeah, you know, he was a little cocky after winning last weekend. He decided he could give me a bow, but I'll get him back for sure. I'll knock him out.
Next time, for sure, guys, you'll have elbow pads.
Getting ready now for second qualifying heat. Number 1, the guy with the defending champions plate, Jeremy McGrath. There was no practice on Friday because the track builders couldn't get into the building till late on Wednesday night, but that's just the way Jeremy McGrath wants it.
For me, I like when no one can practice. I like it better when it takes you 12 minutes to get the track down in the morning and then we race. That's what I like.
David Bailey, he doesn't like those guys seeing the track before because he's quick to analyze everything he can do.
Well, these guys are all getting so good at figuring out the racetrack now.
Let's go down to Marty quickly.
Two things. This is the shortest start on the series this year, but it's also the longest. We saw in heat race number 1. It will play a very big role. It's 190 feet long, guys. I got to get out of here.
Good advice. As we're off and running for our second qualifying heat of the evening. To the inside, number 14, Kevin Witham, and it's Ricky Carmichael, number 9, in second place on the Team Kawasaki machine. Ricky Carmichael looking very promising in the last main event in Tampa. Led for 11 laps. He's taking on Kevin Windham right now. This will be a good one.
Now you got Pichon moving into third spot. So between those guys,
side by side, he flares out.
I can't count the amount of 125 titles these front 3 riders have. They all do great in this soil. Kevin appears to be back on track. I don't think
I thought you
Carmichael's
could count
finished.
that high, David Bailey. They both have 2.
Also Pichon in there too.
That's right. And Pichon has 2 Eastern 125 Supercross titles. Ricky Carmichael with 1. And Ali Seymour takes a look as Windham took a stumble there.
It's all it takes, one little mistake. Look at how close these guys are. McGrath's starting to make his play.
Albertine, number 8, coming up on Windham. Greg Albertine, who's had a tough season of it so far, and trying to show his goods right now. Trying to take over the lead and does so from Kevin Windham, last week's winner, Marty Reed.
Greg Albertine knows he has a little bit of pressure on him, guys. Talked to his team manager, Roger DeCoster. I said, anything changes on the bike? He says, no. All we got to do is get our riders to stay on him.
Well, he had a highlight film crash in qualifying last week, and for the second time in the 99 season was last in the main event. He really does want to prove something here tonight, and is doing so as Ricky Carmichael now challenging Windham for second. Backs off a little bit.
Look how slick McGrath is. Just waited for a tiny opening, just gas it in there to take the show. Now he's going after Carmichael.
McGrath has a bead on Carmichael. Look at this now. McGrath gets by Carmichael. Carmichael comes right back. It's Albertine, Windham, Carmichael, McGrath.
The track design last week just forced everybody to ride so perfect. It was so technical. Here it's much more wide open, and the nature of the soil allows them to get in there and ride much more aggressive. They can take almost any line, as we've seen so far.
Well, the battle for the bubble here is only 4 can qualify to go to the main event after our qualifying heat is over. Is going to be right there on the bubble. Pichon is behind McGrath.
Right behind him, you got Ferry, then a pretty big gap back to Emick. And then further back to Huffman, and then Button is still at the back of the pack. So that's going to be an action-packed semi.
Ricky trying to hold off Jeremy McGrath, and it's McGrath has the inside edge. They rub a little plastic. McGrath into third.
You know what I've noticed about McGrath? He doesn't worry so much about being the fastest rider through the whoops. He worries about the corner before and the corner after. When you put it all together, that makes him better.
Less than 5 laps to go in our second qualifying round. Albie still out in front. This would be the first heat win for Albie.
Jeremy's already bumped the back end of Windham. What an incredible race. If you're just tuning in, no, this isn't the main event. It's only a heat race.
Albertine, Windham. Windham pulling up right on the backside of Albie. McGrath in third. Carmichael in fourth. Pichon in fifth. And Ferry in sixth, riding on the edge.
Windham must be wondering, what the heck is Albie still doing out there ahead of me? Albie has not shown this kind of speed. He has got it dialed in right now.
Pedro Gonzalez stalled right under that finish line jump as everybody sails by him, and it's Albertine, Windham, McGrath, Carmichael putting on some speed to catch up with McGrath, who's in third.
Albie just gets an excellent drive out of that corner, sits down, compresses the suspension so he can time that section better. It's all the way over that big banana tabletop look. I don't know what they call it, but if you don't get that right, you can't get the rest of the straightaway right.
We'll be right back with the conclusion of our second qualifying heat after these words. Jeff Stanton would battle with number 10 Guy Cooper before getting off the track in the turn. He would come back on the track in second, a position Stanton would lose in a bar-to-bar battle with teammate number 1 Ricky Johnson. RJ in second later in the race took on teammate Guy Cooper then for the lead. The race turned into a Honda 1-2-3 battle. RJ, Cooper, then Stanton. Cooper then went flying off the bike in a spectacular crash that he runs away from. Next to take a spill would be Johnson, losing the lead to the survivor Stanton. Jeff Stanton would take his first Supercross victory, team number 8, here in our second qualifying heat.
Well, not only would this be a huge boost for Albertine, but I think it'd be equally as big of a boost if he can hold off, if Wyndham can hold off McGrath there, bumping him again, and Carmichael. Just to say to those guys, hey, last week I beat you, and I'm going to do it again. I already did one.
Well, that confidence factor is a big thing in this Supercross game. And Wyndham, who had the flu in Anaheim, in fact, he just barely got off the couch to go to the hospital a couple times the week before. A very good excuse, I would say, for his poor finish at Anaheim, but he came back with that great win last week. Let's check in with Marty.
Well, you talk about confidence, guys. They practice. Oh, what happened?
Kevin Wyndham almost went over.
Well, let's go on with the Kevin Wyndham story. Even though he's getting passed by Jeremy McGrath, they practiced this week out at Ezra Lusk track because this is his hometown, and he was running the track, 4th gear tap in the whoop section. He had him dialed. Somebody asked Ezra, have you ever done that? He said, this week I did.
Hey, shake him up! Shake him up, baby. Albertine first, McGrath second, Carmichael third, Pichon fourth. And Wyndham now is in 5th, trying to fight to get back his transfer.
And you can see Alley not happy about that. All it took was 2 mistakes by Wyndham right there in traffic to just lose all those positions. And if he doesn't pick it up now, he's going to the semi.
Ferry's in front of Wyndham. Number 20. There's Jeremy McGrath taking the turn as Albertine now has a good 3-second lead on Jeremy McGrath with Ricky Carmichael behind McGrath.
What it really comes down to, Art, is a lot of guys can run the pace out here, but it's the guy that makes the fewest mistakes, the best decisions. Wyndham was the guy last week that didn't make any mistakes at all. Tonight he made a couple already, and he is paying the price.
Less than 2 laps to go. Next time around, we'll see the white flag. Albertine takes the corner of the finish line jump. The white flag is waving. 1 more lap to go. So it's Albertine, McGrath, and Carmichael, Pichon, and Ferry fighting for that final spot. And Wyndham is trailing back with Jeff Emig.
You can see the rut starting to develop. I would keep my eyes on Carmichael. He will not leave McGrath alone. He's got a better line as they approach the triple on the far side.
Takes the wide route around and then goes through the short whoop section in front of the fans in the north section.
This is the first triple. As they make the right down here at the end, Jeremy usually turns tight, and it's a slower timing. See all the air time McGrath gets right there? Watch. Oh!
Oh, and that landing by Carmichael looked dangerously close. Landing that he was injured in San Diego.
It was the exact same thing that happened. He got in a rut. He was leaning too much to the inside. The bike washed out on the takeoff.
The checkers for Albertine. What a tremendous boost for Albie. McGrath in second, Pichon in third, and Tim Ferry goes right to the main event after the qualifying heat is over. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to a packed house here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Let's take another look at that exciting action from our second qualifying heat, David Bailey.
Take a look at Carmichael's front wheel. Right as he lands right here, he's trying to line up for this rut. He doesn't get it. His front wheel does a little dance. He's leaned too much to the inside. We almost had a replay of San Diego where he landed on the high side of that bike right on the foot peg. He's lucky to walk away from that.
Well, he's had experience with that move now, too much so, I'm sure, as Greg Albertine, Jeremy McGrath, Mikel Pichon, and Tim Ferry gained the 4 positions out of that qualifying heat to go on to the main event. So I'm anxious to hear now from Marty as to what our winner, Greg Albertine. It's been a while since he's been there with you, Marty.
First time this year, guys, and he is a very happy camper. What a difference a week can make. I mean, total disaster last week, 20th place.
Well, that's what perseverance pays off, you know. I felt really good out there. My Suzuki's running great, and last week was a nightmare for me, but just kept pushing hard, and, you know, this week just things came together. I just want to thank the Lord Jesus for giving me the talent to race out there with those guys.
Well, Roger made no bones about it. He says, hey, our bikes are fine. We got to keep our guys on them.
Yeah, I mean, there's no complaints. Our Suzukis are running so well. I'm really, really happy. I seem to be having a lot of problems with myself, but it seems like they worked out, and hopefully no crashes in the main. I can be on the podium.
One down, one to go.
Sounds good. Thank you.
This always anticipated huge crowd here at Atlanta is just one more reason to get your tickets now if you want good seats for any of the stops in the chase for the Supercross Championship. After Texas Stadium, it's on to Daytona and Bike Week, and we finish up with 6 dome appearances throughout the Midwest, plus the Astrodome in Houston, and then the big finale in Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, he was known as Mr. Holeshot back in his championship days. Donnie Hansen is the subject of this week's Honda Close-Up.
Donnie was a technician on the bike. He was very smooth. Everything was calculated. You didn't see Donnie cross up very much or showboat or anything like that. But I'll tell you, when it came to getting the hole shot, he's known to be the hole shot king.
Donnie Hansen grew up in Southern California, and racing was in his blood.
It was a family thing. My dad used to race, and he got me into it after his day, and went to the races each weekend, and it was a fun thing.
Winning local events and gaining confidence from the Winter Am in Florida, Donnie got his shot with Team Honda. 1991, his notoriety went worldwide. The original motocross and Trophy to Nations U.S. team didn't want to go, so Honda's Roger DeCoster took his Honda guys.
He got myself, O'Mara, Chuck Sun, and Dana Laporte, the Honda riders. We went over there as a second-rate team and actually shocked them and blew them away.
It would be the first of 13 straight Team USA wins and a springboard for Hansen. The next season, Hansen captured the Supercross title, then the 250 National Motocross Championship. What a high, until preparing for the next year's Motocross to Nations.
As a first to Donnie, saw that it was not just like a normal crash and, you know, get right back up. He had definitely hit his head hard.
Put him in a coma and with back concussion and had to learn how to walk and talk all over again.
It was a slow, difficult battle back, but for the last 15 years, Donnie has been teaching the sport he knows best.
The motocross schools just go in different parts of the country, putting on 2-day schools at the various tracks. And also we put on 3- and 4-day camp. We get riders from all over the world that come to Colorado. That's our home base.
Donnie Hansen, this week's Honda Close-Up. At Atlanta Fulton County Stadium could have best been called the Mud Race. That night would be remembered for the amount of muck on the track. And the riders, even the 1983 eventual Supercross champion David Bailey, would have his problems. He went down in his heat race. Then he got stuck in the main event on the first lap. Mark Barnett conquered the course and the competition, taking the victory. He would lose the Supercross title to Bailey that year by only 2 points. Well, last year we had over 60,000 fans here at the Georgia Dome. I don't have an official count yet, but you can see that the 1995 main event in Atlanta would have 2 Kawasaki's out in front to battle for the lead. Number 2, Mike LaRocco, sliding by number 7, Mike Kudrowski for first place. The Atlanta win would be the first for LaRocco on his way to 2 wins that year. LaRocco at the top of the podium with Mike Kudrowski second and Jeff Emig third. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome as we're getting set for our semifinal rounds. Phil Lawrence, one of the top privateers in the field. He's down at the gate getting ready for our first semifinal. Longtime veteran Phil Lawrence has gained new popularity as a privateer this season, but not as much because of his on-track achievements as his on-camera appearance. He was once an up-and-coming rider they nicknamed Factory Phil.
I want to go and I want to be up front. I've done it in the past. You know, I haven't won a race, but I've been up front. And I want to do that this year, and I think if I keep working hard, I mean, I'll figure out what it takes to get back up there, but, you know, it's just taking a little longer than I thought.
It's difficult enough not to have the resources of a factory team, but it makes it even more difficult coming back during one of the most competitive years of Supercross.
In the main events, there's been 18 factory riders. That doesn't leave a lot of room for privateers, you know. And actually, Timmy Ferry and myself have been the privateers in the main event, you know, so it's tough. It's definitely tough this year. I think this year it's tougher than any year I've seen it.
Skyrocketing Phil's fan popularity was a recent commercial he acted in.
Hey.
I never want to see you again.
Wait, where are you going? Aren't you bummed? She took my favorite jersey. I sit there and do autographs probably for 2 hours a day, you know, and 1 out of 5 people, you know. I mean, they come up, hey, did you get your favorite jersey back? Who is that girl? You know, this and that. And, you know, it's pretty funny to hear some of the comments, but yeah, everybody loves that commercial.
No immediate plans to change his nickname to Hollywood. It's strictly focused on the 250 qualifying right now.
Also in the semifinal round is second in the points, Mike LaRocco, who had a bad break happen in his qualifying heat. Let's go down to Marty.
Quick update, guys, on LaRocco on the number 3 Honda. He tweaked the front end a little bit. Most damage was in the clutch area. Everything has been repaired. Paul Delarier says his frame of mind is good. He knows.
A look at the action from our first semifinal round. Top 5 riders out of this round will qualify for the main event. Here is our leader, number 24, on the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha, Steve Lamson.
And Lamson is riding the best I've seen him ride. This is the most we've followed him around the track with our cameras, too. But beautiful timing through the whoop section back there. After the mechanics area, hopping 3, 3, and 3. That's the best rhythm I've seen so far.
Now, Lamson's best end result was in the opener when he scored only a 9th place finish at that time. He's gunning for his second semifinal win of the season as we take a look at the battle for 3rd right now. Nathan Ramsey is the lead in that position with number 3, Mike LaRocco, and Tortelli. Tortelli number 44, LaRocco number 3.
Hey, it looks as though the riders, as they come out of the corner and approach that straightaway, that one rider will pass another. Then they get stuck on one of the steep faces and they get them back. So it's very interesting timing. Makes it a little bit more exciting for the fans, especially when you got a battle for the lead through there.
Only 2 laps to go. This is a time you do not want to make a mistake when you've got your qualifying position nailed down.
Well, they are inching up right now on Ramsey.
Lamson, Voss. This is one of Voss's finer performances. It would be his finest qualifying position as the white flag is ready to come out. Lamson comes around the corner over the finish line jump. We are on the final lap of our first semifinal round. Heath Voss in 2nd, Nathan Ramsey in 3rd. In 4th, it's Mike LaRocco, Tortelli in 5th, with Jean-Sébastien Waugh, the French-Canadian, on the bubble in 6th.
It looks like Waugh and Lawrence, there's that timing I talked about. He jumps the last 3 out over that big jump. This whoop section this week, that first one, it just keeps climbing in altitude until the last whoop is 6 feet high and it drops off. It's a little something new for the riders to look at this week.
One of Lamson's best performances was right here in Atlanta back in '96. He took a 4th place finish here.
Lamson bobbling just a little bit, allowing these guys to get pretty close.
There's Heath Voss. Nathan Ramsey, the checkered flag now for Steve Lamson. He takes his 2nd semifinal win of the year. And Voss, this is the first time that he's placed better than 4th out of a semifinal round. So we'll be right back with the official finish and see which 5 riders go on to the main event after our first semifinal round, and hear from Steve Lamson once again as Marty goes over to the podium. We'll be right back to the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. We're back at the Georgia Dome, and here are the 5 riders who have qualified for the main event after the semifinal number 1. Steve Lamson doing a great job. Heath Voss, one of his finest qualifying positions. Nathan Ramsey coming out of the 125 ranks, doing a good job. Mike LaRocco, he'll be in the main. And Sebastian Tortelli, which means our buddy Lawrence, Ryan Huffman, and Amaratio will have to go on to the last chance qualifier, which only 2 make it out of there. Let's go down to Marty to hear from Steve Lamson.
This may be the most obvious question or statement I've ever made. I bet you those ribs don't hurt at all right now.
I tell you what, they don't hurt at all. They're feeling really good. Actually, my shoulder kind of hurts after that fall in that last heat race there, but it's good though. Once the adrenaline gets flowing out there, and I'm feeling strong, and I'm gonna just ride through it.
There's a lot of times when a rider goes down, we see the rest of the night just goes away, but you came back really strong.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I went down, bike got messed up. We barely got it ready for the race, so I just gotta say thanks to my mechanic Jerry for getting it going quick, because it had to replace a lot of parts on it. So I feel good, and I'm gonna just go out there in the main event and try.
We'll see you then.
Thanks a lot.
Well, your ribs can't be too sore if you're doing heel clickers, that's for sure. Here's Ricky Carmichael as we get set now for the 2nd semifinal round.
Carmichael. Like he was getting instructions right there, shaking his head. Here's a look at the track map. There's that start Marty talked about. Nice sweeping corner this week. The first whoop section I talked about is up at the top of your screen. It keeps climbing in elevation before they get to the first triple here. This is the section, this is the rut where Carmichael had his problems in the first heat. And we'll see some passing as they approach this corner right over here. And then that long whoop section to the finish. I like the way they placed that right before the checkered flag.
Some outstanding talent as the 32nd board is up for this second semifinal. Kevin Windham, Jeff Emig, Ricky Carmichael, Jimmy Button, Damon Huffman, just to name a few, as the board is sideways and we're almost set to go now. A great charge by Windham to the inside, but on the outside, it is number 31, Damon Huffman.
Much faster timing for Windham, though.
Carmichael in third, Button in fourth. As out in front, Kevin Windham, number 14.
Worked out a lot better for Kevin and Carmichael both to just roll the first jump of the straightaway out of the first corner. That timing works out better in the end.
Ryan Terlicki has now moved. What a wild ending to our second semifinal round, as we had riders going down all over the place. Jimmy Button going down, Ricky Carmichael going down. Kevin Windham took the checkered flag to win the second semifinal round. And let's go down to Marty and hear from Kevin.
Down here with Kevin Windham, and he has no idea all the carnage that went on behind you. I mean, everybody seemed to be falling on the last lap. Is this track that fast, or is it that demanding?
It's a little of both. It's really fast, and there's some ruts out there that are giving us all fits. I know that in the heat, I almost went down a couple of times. So it's really hard. You got to stay on top of your toes, and it's going to be an exciting main.
So what are you going to do about the main? I mean, it's going to be worse by then.
Yeah, you're right. I'd hope just to get a good start. Both times, well, shouldn't have had to run the semi with a good start in the heat, but I faded back and was, like I said, was making some mistakes. But hopefully my Honda, like it's done the past 2 times, just will pull me to a good start and just be able to ride consistent. I think that's the key right now. You know, just picking the good lines and being able to hit them for 20 laps.
We'll see you in the main.
Thanks a lot.
David Bailey, do you feel that Ricky Carmichael might be putting too much pressure on himself coming back like this?
Well, yes. I mean, that's the only other thing I could see, really. He knows that this is the first place he ever won a Supercross. It's pretty close to his home. This is the kind of soil he likes. The way he rode last week, there's a lot of people that feel like he can win. That's extra pressure. That's what was tough for Windham early in the season. Watch Button go in here. He's going to stick his front wheel right up in the high part of the berm. Those hay bales just don't hold up there. That's a tough spot to be in. He's got to pick that bike up upside down, get it restarted. Simultaneously, RC was going down on another section of the racetrack, so it was a battle of who could get their bike started quick enough to still get in there and not have to go to the last chance qualifier.
Some impressive factory riders have had to go to the LCQ this year to qualify for the main event. Jeff Emig, Damon Huffman, Greg Albertine, and the latest, Ricky Carmichael. Now, Carmichael, number 9, got there the hard way, but he was impressive. After 2 crashes in 2 previous qualifying races, took away with the LCQ, did not look back. John Sebastian Waugh gets the final position, taking second place behind Ricky in that last chance qualifier. Rookie Ernesto Fonseca. Can he win his second pro race in a row? The 125s are coming up next. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome as we get set for the 125s. Taking a look at the Suzuki point standings. Ernesto Fonseca, a 3-point advantage with the opening 125 Eastern win in Tampa last week. His teammate Stefan Roncada in second place. Brock Sellards took a third on the podium, followed by Robbie Horton and Nicholas Way. When number 100 won his very first pro Supercross last week, Ernesto Fonseca, many wanted to know more about this likable lad from Costa Rica, and so did we. Even the young phenom Ricky Carmichael, who swept the entire 125 season last year, could do no better than a 19th in his very first professional 125 Supercross. Fonseca surprised even himself last week.
My goal wasn't like just to, it wasn't a win. I was just expecting to be top 5.
The sport's latest up-and-comer is from a small country bordered by Panama to the south and Nicaragua to the north.
I started riding when I was 5 with a QR50, a Honda. And, just after a couple years, I had a sponsor, big sponsor that just, became a big sponsor in Costa Rica.
Even as far away as Costa Rica, he had his American idols.
'Cause I remember when I was little, I used to watch every supercars I could in the TV, every ESPN, and my hero was Bratcher. Like that time, I was like all the time looking up to him. And I remember I was like feeling so bad for him that year that he lost in the last race. And he was always like my hero then, Since when Jeremy started winning, I'd start looking up to him too. But Bratcher is the main hero.
Unlike the Europeans and Japanese who come to America to race, Fonseca's no stranger to American amateur racing.
Since '92, I raced, Loretta Lynn's, Texas, World Mini last year, and a couple of amateur races. And I think, that really tells you where you are.
Ernesto's supportive family is here tonight, but they've only seen him race in America twice at Loretta Lynn's and last week in his pro debut.
My mom, for freeing my family, it's my little brother, my sister, and me. And she's kind of like spending most of the time with them. And me and my dad travel a little bit together and just do our motocross deal. But they like it. I mean, they support me a lot. And not actually my mom and my dad, just the whole family do.
Ernesto Fonseca, the young teenager from a small Latin country, making a big splash in America. As we look at the starting grid for our 125 main event, David Bailey, this young man was just as impressive in the qualifying rounds here in Atlanta, Georgia, than he was in Tampa last week.
Well, so far, he doesn't know what it's like to get anything but first place. And his timing is perfect. His starts are good. He's waited it out, rode a patient race in Tampa to get past his teammate, Ron Cotta. O'Mara says this kid is in the best shape of anybody else in this class. And I think tonight that's going to really show. These guys, these are the warmest conditions we've had so far this season. The track has already claimed quite a few guys. You got to be perfect, and he is.
He looks in fantastic shape. There's no question about it. As we take a look at Nicholas Way, a vast improvement from the first race.
Well, he has got a lot of weight on his shoulders at Pro Circuit with the absence of Shea Bentley. He's carrying the flag, and pretty tough to find his way around number 100 so far, but tonight could be the night.
Right next to Fonseca, number 100, is Talon Volan. Number 711, the GP veteran who came over from Europe to help out FMF in the 125 class. And let's go down and check in with Marty.
Well, all the attention on Fonseca. Let's look back at one other factor. These guys in the East are going to have nightmares of another version of Ricky Carmichael if he runs away with his second straight win. They thought they were going to have an open division. If he wins again, he may own it.
It's got to be a little depressing to his more veteran teammate, Stefan Roncada, who was really expecting a championship year, and so were those people that hired him. 125 main event just about set to get underway. Fonseca, Brock Sellers, don't forget him, number 27 in your picture. Nicholas Way, Jason McCormick, Yuri Dostal, Kelly Smith, Robbie Horton, Stefan Roncada, as we mentioned, Talon Volan, Danny Smith, Sean Perolio, Jimmy Neese. Some good names here in this 125 Eastern Division, which is proving to have more depth, actually, than the 125 West. 125 West had the first 5 races of the season, and this is the second race of the year for the 125 Eastern Division. The 30-second board is up. It'll go sideways any moment now. In fact, right now it's sideways, and that gate's going to drop here in Atlanta, Georgia for our 125 main event. The future superstars are underway. Roncada, a very bad start as they blow the hay bales away. Guess who's out in front? Number 100 with Talon Volan in second place.
Well, this time it's not his teammate that he's together with. It's Talon Volan, who got a terrible start in the Tampa main event last weekend. Now he gets a chance to take a shot at Fonseca in the first lap.
Brock Sellers has moved into third, getting around Yuri Dostal. Talon Volan slipping up, number 27. Brock Sellers taking advantage of it. So right now we might have a Yamaha of Troy FMF rivalry in this race.
Talon Volan came up way short on the triple and has pulled to the back of the pack. I think he's out for the main event, Art.
Unfortunate. They're really hoping that Talon does a good job on the outdoors this year. This is the first time in 7 years he's had to jump double jumps after his motocross career went to Europe and the GPs. But right now, Brock Sellers is 3 seconds behind our leader, number 100, Ernesto Fonseca.
Sellers had an excellent heat race ride of his own. There you get the signal, relax. Geez, I don't know if you need to tell this kid to relax. He's pretty relaxed already.
Ron Cotta right now is in 18th position as we zero on to number 57, Yuri Dostal, Primal Suzuki. He's getting a pretty good chase there.
Side by side over the triple. These triples are going to start getting rutted up more. That's the same triple where Talon Bolin on the first lap made his mistake.
And Bolin is headed for the pits right now. Taking a look at the field summary, Ernesto Fonseca, Sellards, Dostal, Demuth, and Danny Smith. Josh Demuth came on strong in the main event last week.
It's going to be the guys that are smarter, especially in this big crowd right here. We'll see one little mistake right there. Number 57, Dostal, getting in there, trying to be a little bit too aggressive and actually cost him some time.
Dostal in 11th in the first opening round at Tampa. Number 57. And there's Talon Bolin. Very disappointed, I'm sure. What a great shot that is. It shows you how cavernous those whoops are in those technical areas.
And we're looking at the back sides. If we see the angle they're seeing all the ruts, much like coming out of that berm right there.
Here comes Robbie Horton, number 59. Horton out of Blount, Tennessee. He's also on the Yamaha. Holding him off, though, is Demuth.
Because of the stickiness of the soil, you see these guys going back and forth. That pass is going to stick. The outside line there seems to be a little bit faster, but you see when they land off the triples, there's ruts as well because this soil is so soft. It's a lot like what they dealt with in Seattle. Oh!
Demuth goes flying through the air. And coming by is Danny Smith, FMF, out of Eagle, Idaho. He's lucky not to be hurt.
Well, he just flew away from the bike.
Demuth looked like a Superman that just didn't take off.
Well, you want to let go of it. I don't know if he really meant to do it like that. We're going to see it again. He sticks the front wheel down into one of those ruts, gets a little bit off balance, and the bike just bucks him off. It's actually kind of lucky he got bucked away like that. You don't want to be following that bike around with handlebars and sprockets and foot pegs sticking out.
Right now, Brock Sellards in second place behind Ernesto Fonseca. Can Ernesto go 2 for 2? We'll find out when the checkers fly when we return to the Georgia Dome. As Ron Cotta and Nick Way go at it, we're taking a look at our leader, and Brock Sellards has cut it down a bit. I think he cut a second off the last lap. You see number 27 on the Honda, FMF Honda. So getting through that traffic has slowed Fonseca down. We'll see how fast now Brock Sellards can negotiate his way.
I'm sure Sellards knew that was going to happen, and it's usually to the advantage of the guys behind because the lappers already realize, or you see a blue flag just being thrown out for the lappers these guys are approaching, and all that Sellards had to do was stay close enough to keep the pressure, make Fonseca think about him just a little bit.
Demuth looks like he's out of the race. This guy has seen nothing but checkered flags in his entire pro career so far, and we're only in his second race. But we're talking also qualifying rounds as well. He took the lead from Ron Cotta in Tampa on lap 12 and held that lead for 4 laps for the victory. As we take a look at the Honda stopwatch, Fonseca, Sellards in second, Smith in third, Ron Cotta in fourth, and Way in fifth. Number 27 is Brock Sellards.
Seems like front two guys, Fonseca and Sellards, are running pretty much the same pace. It fluctuates just a little bit, but Sellards is always able to get back to where he was and keep it at that shortest interval.
There's Caden Alapper, Danny Smith 58, and there's Ron Cotta. Barolio was 61, and here is number 23, Nicholas Way. Nicholas Way looks like he might be fading a bit.
Well, he's already 30 seconds down. That's almost, that is a half a lap. It's a big differential back to 5th place. Over the finish line, jump smooth. Ducks right into that second berm, which has already become a berm now. As soon as these get deep, it forces the riders to choose something else because they get into that deep one. You drag the foot pegs in the frame, and it slows all your momentum, plus the balance. It looks like Sellards is picking it up a little bit.
Yes, and it looks like Fonseca's getting a little bit more cautious now as Ron Cotta makes the move. Ron Cotta into 3rd place. Boy, he's done this the hard way.
Sometimes it's a little easier for you to come from behind than it is to stay out front and have the pressure.
Yamaha of Troy, of course, winning the first 2 rounds out west. Now they're in good position to do the same here in the East.
Pulls a tearaway through the mechanics area, steals a glance at the board. His momentum isn't nearly what it is out front with Fonseca and Sellards, but it's good enough to get him to the podium. He just blew his start. It looked like he just didn't get a good reaction on top of the fact that he wheelied a little bit. So
yeah, you got the slow reaction, and then it was impossible to bust through the crowd.
Tucks into the inside. This is where he made his pass the lap before. There you go. Give your rider some inspiration. That's the kind of signals. I think he may have stuck that out there and shown the leader Fonseca that.
Yeah.
You don't want to give up too much. Maybe put something in Fonseca's head. There's a new concept. Give your signal to somebody else. Try to mess them up.
Brock Sellards in second and Ron Cotta in third. We'd have the same podium sitters that we had in the first round, just a little juggling in second and third.
Well, Sellards in his interview at Tampa said that he wanted to try to improve on Tampa. It's going to be a long series, and so far he has by one.
Last lap.
Not lose that position to Danny Smith. Smith, if I remember right, Art was very strong at the end of the race last year, and that's what got him his best finish.
With all the great foreign riders we've had in Supercross, Jean-Michel Bayle, of course, a champion from France. We've never had a non-U.S. citizen win the 250 here in Atlanta, but we've had one non-U.S. citizen win here in Atlanta, and that was Mikel Pichon in the 125 ranks. I'll never forget the get-off that he had at the top of the arc of a triple. He decided to get off, and he later admitted that was not a good decision, but there was a bike underneath him, and he had no control over the situation, and he was lucky that he wasn't hurt. He went on to win the championship that year. Ernesto Fonseca on his final lap.
We have had some good shots. He was just surfing his bike 30 feet high. Fonseca looks like he's going to be able to hang on, but Sellards was close.
This would be Yamaha's third win in the Atlanta Dome in the 125 action. Ernesto Fonseca has taken his second main event checkered flag in 2 races. A phenomenal story about this young man from Costa Rica. Just a small portion of the 60,183 fans here at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, getting set for our 250 main event. Many of their favorite is writer Ezra Lusk from Bainbridge, Georgia. A native Georgian has never won the 250 event here in Atlanta, Georgia, despite the great traditions. Here's Jeremy McGrath, and Jeremy, of course, leading the points coming into this race. He's been very smart this year. He only has 1 win, but he's been so consistent. McGrath leading by 8 points over Mike LaRocco in the point standings. Ezra Lusk is only 13 points back. Then we've got Mikel Pichon, Kevin Windham, and Larry Ward tied for that number 5 position in the points. David Bailey, this main event is shaping up to be a great one as we take a look now at Kevin Windham.
Well, I was impressed at looking at the lineup for the first round at Anaheim, and all these guys are still here. Windham just showed up finally last weekend in Tampa and proven that he's got the speed. If you look at all the way on the inside for the lineup, you got Lusk. I like where he's lined up. All the way on the outside is Carmichael, who came out of the last chance qualifier. Same way, Huffman got the whole shot and won his first race from the outside.
Life looked a lot better for number 14 when he woke up on Sunday morning after that first win of the season last week.
It was definitely a big change and a surprise, and man, it was just kind of like a dream. You know, I'd been doing so bad for so long, and had problem with the flu and some arm pump and all that, and then all of a sudden for it to come together and to win one like that. I mean, I read Cycle News and all that, and just looking back on the race, man, there wasn't really a doubt. You know, I mean, the best of the best was in front of me, and I came out on top, and I was really happy about my ride, and you know, it was a good week.
The riders are now headed toward the gate, getting set for our main event as we take a look at the starting grid. There you see the points leaders: John Dowd, Jimmy Button, Greg Albertine. Team Suzuki looked impressive, David Bailey.
Well, we haven't talked about him much. In fact, the last shot we had of him was dropping out of a race, doing a cartwheel in the semi in Tampa. And this week, all the Suzuki riders looked fantastic. All 3 of them had were in the top 5 pick to the starting line. So these guys have got it shaped up. They get a great pick. You should have no excuses getting out of the gate here tonight.
Jeremy McGrath has won every other year here in Atlanta for 3 victories in this city.
He just rode past all the people standing behind the starting line, and one of those persons was Fonseca. Not missing anything.
Yamaha's had a great history of firsts here in Atlanta. They won the first race at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in 1977 as we see Larry Ward go into the gate. They won the last race at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium at Bradshaw in 92, and they won the first race here in the Georgia Dome in 93 with Damon Bradshaw.
There you get a good shot.
Chad Watts talking with Ricky Carmichael as the 30-second board is up. And we're almost set for round number 7 of Pace Supercross from Atlanta, Georgia. You see the fans on their feet. Ezra Lusk, Greg Albertine, Larry Ward, Jeremy McGrath, Robbie Raynard, Mikel Pichon, John Dowd, Tim Ferry, the leading privateer, Kevin Windham, Steve Lampson, Jeff Emig, Heath Foss, Jimmy Button on the 4-stroke, Nathan Ramsey, the 125 rider in the field, Pedro Gonzalez making the field, along with Mike LaRocco, Damon Huffman, Tortelli Carmichael, and Sebastian Waugh. And we're set to go from Atlanta, Georgia. Whoa, what a pack! Jeremy McGrath with a good outside start, but cutting to the inside. Jeremy McGrath comes out of the pack. Larry Ward in second place. Jimmy Button in third with John Dowd in fourth. And Jeff Emig is in fifth. His best start.
Might be able to call that third or fourth here in a moment just because he had the inside.
McGrath is looking to take away with it as the flashbulbs just continue to pop with this great 60,000 plus crowd in Atlanta. Larry Ward in good position in second place. Jimmy Button in third, looking for his third consecutive outstanding race. Emig in fourth, being challenged by Dowd. Albertine in fifth. Then come the Hondas. Lusk, Windham, and Mikel Pichon.
Carmichael, who had to go all the way to the last chance qualifier, is running 14th right now. So that outside pick is no good for him on the start.
Larry Ward's putting some pressure on the defending champion.
That's the only way I can see to beat McGrath. That's how Windham did it last week. He didn't stay any further apart from him than Ward is right now. And Jeremy still didn't make a mistake. It was just Windham forcing his way to the inside to make the pass.
LaRocco in 14th. He's second in points. Jeremy wants to that points championship for his 6th Supercross championship more than anything, even more than a singular victory.
Well, here we are deep into the series, and Jeremy has ridden fantastic. Still hasn't been able to pull away. Only 8 points back to second. Usually by this time of the season, he's got a big lead. Right now, probably in the back of his mind is he's got the lead. He's got a lot of riders between himself and LaRocco and Ezra Lusk.
Jeremy McGrath looking for his second victory of the year. Here in the early going, we've got Larry Ward right behind him. Ward also with a victory. Who can forget that tremendous pole shot, leading 18 of the 20 laps up in Seattle for his 3rd career victory.
And he is just not letting Jeremy go. Look at him right here, just
challenge to the outside, trying to swing by. He's always been good through the whoop sections.
riding a much more aggressive race right now than I've seen him ride since his win in Seattle.
Ward looking to rebound after a difficult time in Tampa, where he took a 9th place, edging into that top 10.
These are similar conditions. Whoa, Jeremy coming up short.
Can Ward take advantage of it now as he tries to pull up even with Jeremy? Not quite bar to bar yet, as Jeremy's got the inside advantage on the left turn. Over the finish line jump. 17 laps to go. Lots of racing left from the Georgia Dome.
These are similar conditions to what we see in Seattle. Look at all these ruts. That's where Ward is apparently very comfortable. Still,
Ray McCullen.
He is still right there with Jeremy.
That's Ward's mechanic giving him the instruction as Ward battles Jeremy McGrath. Jeff Emig is coming up under the heels of Jimmy Button in 4th. We mentioned how well Emig has done here in Atlanta, Georgia before. And here is the battle for 3rd. Jimmy Button with that 4-stroke that hooks up on the slick red clay.
This time through, Jeremy clears the triple, no problem. Button is getting close. Probably from some of that pressure he's feeling from Emig. Emig bobbles just slightly.
Does this kind of remind you a little bit of Tampa, where we had 4 and 5 riders up in the lead pack? More great racing in Pace Supercross's 25th anniversary. Lusk is starting to pull up a little bit on Dowd. He is in 6th place. Dowd in 5th. Dowd just blazing by Emig.
I know it doesn't look like much, Art, but there is another bike link now between Larry Ward and McGrath. This is where you got to be patient. McGrath knows that it's not necessarily to pull away right away, but to just slowly put inches between himself and Larry Ward. If he could do that, Ward will start worrying about the riders behind him.
Is it like a mind game after a while, like a distance runner, where you can't shake the guy, but you work him as best you can?
Well, you know, they're both playing their own game. Ward's trying to keep the pressure on, force a mistake. And McGrath's trying to say, I can just inch away little by little until you can no longer see me.
The leading privateer, Tim Ferry, looks like he's out of the race. A tough break for Tim. But he's got top privateer money, I believe. We'll have to check and see the other privateers that made the field. Sebastian Wall, one of them.
See, that bike link has grown to 3 or 4 bike links now.
Jeremy McGrath starting to pull away. Just a little bit. Can Ward suck it up as we take a look at Emig and Lusk? Ezra Lusk is starting to move up now.
What's amazing is the rider number 9, Ricky Carmichael, who was in 14th the opening lap, is now just behind Lusk and Albertine. He's climbed his way all the way up to this battle this early in the race.
And so in recap now, we've got McGrath, Ward, Button, Dowd, Emig, Lusk, Albertine, and Ricky Carmichael, followed by Pichon and then Mike LaRocco.
We always talk about how difficult it is to pass Jeff Emig. Lusk wants to win this race so bad. Last year he wanted to win it so bad he spent most of the main event on the ground, just trying so hard.
He battled back for a 6th position after that incredible run last year. Had a 5th in '97, but was 20th in 1990. His worst performance here in front of friends and family.
Well, Lusk has already bumped Emig once. Now his mechanic says don't follow.
We will return to the Georgia Dome in time for the checkers to fly and lots more racing action when we return. Bunched up on the corner, David Bailey, number 11, Emig. Number 4, Ezra Lusk. Lusk just looking for a place to pass. He's got Carmichael and Albertine right on his tail.
This is shaping up to be a great battle. And there's shaping up to be maybe a battle out front as Larry Ward has closed the gap just a little bit more on Jeremy. But look at this cluster of riders. Emig, Lusk, Carmichael, who started so far back. Albie, Pichon, and LaRocco at the tail end of these guys. LaRocco is the fastest finisher of all this group, except for maybe Lusk. Both those guys very strong in the final 5 laps.
You know, Larry Ward's still only a 2nd behind Jeremy McGrath.
I thought Jeremy was going to start to pull away, but whoa, Lusk getting a little bit of a swap right there. Then Emig does the same. That's where it's gotten so rutted.
Dangerous when you're riding on the edge, trying to catch up, that's for sure. Jeremy McGrath comes around to the finish line. And going down is Jimmy Button. So Button, who was in 3rd.
There they all go. 6 guys. 1 mistake, you drop that far back. Here comes more. Lamson getting a little squirrely through there. There goes Wyndham.
McGrath and Ward, there you see the interval between 1st and 2nd place. They've pulled away from the 3rd place rider, John Dowd. And then it's Jeff Emig, number 11, but he's got Ricky Carmichael right on his heels, and then Ezra Lusk. Lusk going to the outside, trying to get by those 2. As we take a look at our leader, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, Carmichael has come through the pack and made the pass on Lusk. Lusk couldn't find his way around Emig. Maybe Carmichael can, since Emig's his teammate. He probably knows a little bit more.
Carmichael. All a matter of timing. 2 different ways to get through there, and you saw what happened. Emig keeps his edge.
Comes out about the same, but I think the big thing there is to not follow and get caught up in somebody else's mistake. Watch Carmichael through this whoop section.
Ricky Carmichael coming up at the inside, but shutting the door was Jeff Emig, using the track well.
Oh, he shuts the door on everybody, including his teammate. He doesn't care. He's not going to give it up easy. Get a little bit of shot there, how deep the ruts are getting coming out of that finish line corner. Then they just get down this straightaway into more.
Here it is, number 11, Jeff Emig, Ricky Carmichael, number 9, and Ezra Lusk, number 4. Kind of a log jam right there.
Jeremy Albrecht putting wanted on the board to Jeff Emig. Don't let these guys by. If he just lifts a little bit, he's got 5 guys lined up behind him.
And still, Jeremy McGrath cannot shake here at the halfway point. Larry Ward, who is about 2 seconds in back of our leader. We're taking a look at the big battle, though, right now. That's Jeff Emig. Oh, what a shot. Almost got right into his eyeballs.
And Jeff didn't look that good through the whoops this afternoon, but he has picked it up when it counts. I'll tell you, if he was suffering through there still the way he did in practice, he'd be getting passed one at a time by all these guys each lap.
Boy, Emig and Carmichael and Lusk just having all kinds of trouble getting around him.
Well, they got 10 laps more to try to figure it out, but the problem is by the time they do,
Ward and McGrath are lapping people.
Yeah, they'll be gone. And speaking of that, as they start to approach lap traffic, you know, that usually tightens up a little bit, and Ward is close enough to take advantage.
Carmichael tried to the outside, now cuts to the inside on Jeff Emig. Ricky Carmichael, will he make it stick? No, Jeff Emig comes right back. My goodness, what a battle between Team Kawasaki teammates. Team Kawasaki has not had better than a 4th place finish this year, and that was Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael once again to the inside. Ezra Lusk is right behind Jeff Emig. Carmichael has finally accomplished the feat for a while anyway. 9 laps to go.
Carmichael appears to be the fastest rider on the racetrack right now. He's got a long ways to go. Dowd isn't that far in front of him, but Larry Ward and McGrath are pretty far gone.
Dowd with 1 podium performance this year. Number 6 is Carmichael's. Gets that front wheel caught. Back in front of him now is Emig. Here comes Lusk to take advantage of RC's mistake.
This action is just unbelievable. All these guys are so close. That's what happens. One mistake. You just blink and you drop positions. That's what happened in that great battle last week. Carmichael made a couple of mistakes, so did Lusk, and it just dropped him 2 positions immediately.
Jeremy McGrath now has a 4-second lead on Larry Ward and is starting to pull away. As we take a look at Jeff Emig, let's take another look now at Ricky Carmichael's problem.
Well, he gets in there and the front brake hangs up on that tough box right there. Probably stopped him, and then he was stuck in there. He couldn't get up. As soon as he gets out of the berm, he regroups nicely. Then he dips the front wheel down into one of these whoops, loses his timing, and Lusk gets by.
Yeah, that left foot coming right off the peg.
Sometimes these berms are so close to the inside, you lay it over there, you got to lean the bike up straight, keep your body leaned in just so the levers miss. That time he hooked the front brake, I believe.
Coming into the race, Mike LaRocco, 2nd in points behind Jeremy McGrath. Chances are he'll drop further if he can't put the zip on it right now and catch up. Ferry back on the track has now gone into the pit area once again. Look at this. Lusk and Emig. Bang, bang play. Ezra Lusk draws a reaction from this partisan crowd here in Atlanta, Georgia.
As Lusk approaches that corner, you see Dowd just exiting, so 3rd is within his grasp.
Ezra Lusk, and the crowd senses it right now.
Emig has ridden a solid race.
I think McGrath feels that his biggest opponent, as far as the points race is concerned, is Ezra Lusk, because he's proven he can win, and if he stays consistent like this, staying on the podium, he can provide a real challenge for Jeremy all the way in this points race.
Well, he's going to lose points again this weekend, though, and that's what Jeremy, I mean, everyone keeps talking about how relaxed he looks. That's just confidence. He knows how to win. He's got enough patience now to know that if he just stays in the game a little bit longer, keeps his head, everyone around him is going to crumble, and that's what's been happening. They lose points here and there. They make a mistake. They end up in the last chance qualifier, whatever. Anything to disrupt their momentum, and his momentum is always right on the money.
John Dowd, he's hoping for that same kind of similar performance he had 3 weeks ago in Seattle, but can he hold off the Georgia native, Ezra Lusk, number 4, to accomplish that feat? The laps are ticking away. Jeremy McGrath now has a huge lead on Larry Ward out front. So it's McGrath, Ward, Dowd, Lusk, RC, Emig, and Pichon, the order as we switch back to our leader, Jeremy McGrath. Now, here's a guy who's looking for his 54th win, his second of the season.
Over that double jump clean, that's where a lot of guys have been slow. Nothing really slows him down. His momentum is always there. Also looking for his 6th title. I mean, you're looking at a living legend, so pay attention because you don't know how much longer he's going to be around.
Hey, look at there. Mike LaRocco gets in front of Pichon now, and his next target is Jeff Emig, number 11, Team Kawasaki. The jack-in-the-box factory connection of Mike LaRocco.
He won't put up with Emig for very long. If Emig starts to move over or starts to block a little bit, LaRocco,
he's not afraid to get in there, yep. We've seen that in the outdoors as well as the indoors from Mike LaRocco. LaRocco having trouble with that lapper right now.
Was trying to get out of the way, but he just moved the wrong way. Really wrecked LaRocco's momentum at the end of the whoop section. You see Emig pulled out about 10 bike lengths now, and he's going to have to make all that back up.
LaRocco from a 14th to 7th. As we go back to our leader, Jeremy McGrath, and what more can you say about him? His best race prior to this one was at Phoenix when he got the whole shot and won his heat before that to get into the main event and went all the way to the win.
You just can never count the guy out.
And you know what might have been his greatest race of the season?
Seattle.
Anaheim.
I was thinking
where the
Seattle.
motor mounts were coming loose.
Uh-oh, Lusk is down.
Lusk is down. You see it right there, number 4. Picks it up before LaRocco and Emig, battling with each other, can pass him. But it was Ricky Carmichael who did make the pass on Lusk. And Dowd is making a move on Larry Ward for second. There you see it, number 6, Team Yamaha against the Team Suzuki of Larry Ward. Ward does not want to give it up. John Dowd with a powerful move has taken over second place.
Age? What age?
My
the tougher
goodness.
the track, the better it is for John Dowd. I talked about that in the heat race. This is the track where John would do well. Larry Ward getting a little crossed up in the ruts right there. Can't do the double. Now look at the lead that John Dowd has built. Ward's got to be careful about this pack coming up from behind.
Well, he's got Ricky Carmichael coming up from behind, too. And Ricky's only about 4 seconds behind Larry Ward as Ward is shooting for his second podium of the year. Ricky wants that podium badly.
There's Lusk. Emig, LaRocco still trying to find his way around Jeff. Pichon not letting him off the hook yet either.
Well, it's a day in the park now for Jeremy McGrath. This would be the first 125-250 Yamaha sweep in the history of racing here in Atlanta.
Going back to what you said about Jeremy's best ride being at Anaheim, I have to agree that was an intelligent ride. Not take any chances, still come in, limit the damage. But I was very impressed with him going down in the first corner in Seattle and getting all the way back up to 4th, because all the other riders who went down with him had that same chance, but none of them did. The next closest rider was Emig in 7th.
Ricky Carmichael making the move on Larry Ward. Ricky quite possibly, unless there's another mistake.
What it comes down to right now, Art, is the guys that are in the best shape. The guys that do their homework during the week. The guys, oh!
Ricky Carmichael makes that mistake and Larry Ward passes him by. Oh my goodness, what a black day in Atlanta for Ricky Carmichael.
He messed up his timing right there. He jumped in a little bit too hot. Back end kicked, and that's not that tall, so he didn't have much travel between his rear end and the seat, kicking right up over the front.
Take another look, David Bailey.
Well, that just kicked him a little bit more than I thought he expected. Drove him right into the face of the next one. Larry Ward's just going, thank you.
Jeremy McGrath, number 1 with a 10-second lead on his Yamaha mate, John Dowd. Dowd with Team Yamaha, and of course Jeremy McGrath with the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha.
This is one of those weird races where for Jeremy, he's going to come in, barely have broken a sweat, where all these other riders are trying so hard. It's going to be such an effort for him.
The white flag for Jeremy McGrath. It looks like he will become the first 4-time winner in the history of Supercross here in Atlanta. John Dowd crosses the finish line in 2nd. Larry Ward is now in 3rd with Ezra Lusk in 4th. Jeff Emig in 5th. Mike LaRocco in 6th. Pashone in 7th. And Wyndham in 8th. Albertine in 9th.
You can see LaRocco is pushing so hard to try to get past Emig that Emig just will not make any mistakes or give him an inch. McGrath saluting the crowd.
Jeremy McGrath on the last lap. Here's one for you, David Bailey. Jeremy McGrath with the flashbulbs a-poppin' could become the first rider in history of Supercross to win 2 races 7 consecutive years. Jeff Ward won a Supercross 8 consecutive years, but not 2. Jeremy McGrath, win number 2 on the season. Win number 54 as we take a look at the 3rd place battle. Ward takes 3rd place over Ezra Lusk. Then it's Emig after Lusk. LaRocco, Pashone, and Wyndham beating out Albertine. A great win for the master himself, Jeremy McGrath, who is looking for his 6th title in 7 years. He once again lengthens his points lead. Gives Yamaha their 2nd win of the season, and there's Larry Ward, a disappointed Larry Ward, but his mechanic, Lee McCollum, saying, hey, partner, you battled as hard as you could fight. You made the podium. It's got to be a personal victory, too, for John Dowd. His best finish of the season in 2nd place. We'll be right back for an interesting wrap-up from Atlanta, Georgia, right after this. As the 60,000 plus move toward the exits, they leave with a sense that they've just seen a great race. They've seen a great champion win his 2nd of the year, Jeremy McGrath. John Dowd, his best finish of the year in 2nd. Larry Ward making the podium. Ezra Lusk, Jeff Emig, LaRocco, Pashone, Wyndham, Albie, all with fine performances, and probably the most disappointing factor for this crowd as they leave the stadium was that of Ricky Carmichael. But a tremendous, tremendous race here in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go down to Marty Reed with our excited winners.
Yes, the 1-900 Pro Race money, $1,000 to Jeremy McGrath, just as Fonseca did. The whole shot really important, but I didn't see you make any mistakes either.
Well, tonight the track was really soft out there, you know, and it's kind of one of those tracks you don't want to charge too hard, but I was really putting a pressure on myself to get that Mazda 800 Collect Chaparral No Fear Yamaha out in front. And I didn't get such a good start in the heat race. Doug from Bridgestone, we came back, we ran a little more pressure again, and when we have a lot of tacky tracks like this, it helps to run more pressure. They get a little more wheel slipping. Boy, I came right out in front.
54 career wins. You stretch the points lead. You feeling like this is control time again? We're almost to the halfway point next week.
Well, you know, I haven't felt this season so far the momentum I've had in the past. Everyone's fast this year. There's a lot of fast guys, and it's new guys every week up here on the podium. So I'm feeling really confident, and I'm rolling along, you know, getting some momentum. The bike's working really well, and I'd like to think so, but I can't count my chickens before they hatch.
Art, we'll get back to you. We'll catch up with John Dowd here.
Okay. Well, he added 10 points to his lead. He's now leading Mike LaRocco by 18 points. Ezra Lusk has moved to within 2 of Mike LaRocco in 3rd, with Pashone in 4th, and Larry Ward moving ahead, breaking that tie with Kevin Wyndham to secure the top 5 position. And while he hunts down John Dowd, let us remind you that you fans in the Houston and Indianapolis area, I kind of think, David Bailey, that Jeremy McGrath would love to clinch the title once again on an ABC Wild World of Sports show. That's coming up in Houston or Indianapolis. Marty, you all ready with John Dowd?
Oh, yes, very happy. Hey, you make the old guys in the crowd feel real good. You know that?
Yeah, I hear a lot of that lately. I guess, you know, that's my big claim to fame. But, hey, I love it. You know, I guarantee I'm having as much fun as any of these other guys out here. You know, I just started later, so this is the only way I can do it. I don't have a choice, but I'm having a ball for sure.
Podium at Seattle, real ruddy track. Podium here, real ruddy track.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's a little pattern there, huh? Well, I don't know. I mean, I think these East Coast tracks this is kind of considered like an East Coast track, the ruts and everything. And, you know, I guess that seems to help me out a little out here. It's tough. You know, a lot of guys are making mistakes. And, you know, I just tried to be as smooth as I could out there. And I was lucky. I didn't fall or go off the track anywhere. You know,
you did great. Even Art Ekman, David Bailey, and myself feel younger tonight.
Congratulations.
That's great. I'd like to. I got to thank all the guys who got me here. You know, Yamaha and Bridgestone tires, Fox gear, ride helmets, Scott goggles, and I also like to say hi to my wife Trish and my son Ryan at home. They couldn't make it this weekend, but I miss them guys. I can't wait to get home.
Our next telecast coming to you from Texas Stadium on March 6th. We begin the telecast at noon to 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Thank you so much for being with us from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. You see the first 4-time winner here in Atlanta raising the trophy. Pace Supercross has been brought to you by ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more information, log on to ESPN.com, part of Go Network. Go.com.